Isn't it weird that right after US pulled out of Afghanistan, we got a brand new war? Seems like the only way for the system to work is to have a war, a crisis, or a disease. Let's go back to June 1st, 1951. CIA agents are observing some psychological experiments in McGill University. The father of modern torture, Dr. Ivan Cameron, was wondering about how sensory deprivation affected the human psyche. When he wasn't really satisfied with the results, he took it a little further. According to his experiments, if you give shock to humans, they lose their judgment. Shocks such as waking them up with a loud noise, using their phobias against them, isolating the subject for a long period of time, preventing sleep, and so on. Right after the shock, the subjects are open to suggestion, much more willing to cooperate. Declassified CIA files from 2007 shows that the agency used their techniques not only in their interrogations, but also with social engineering. It turns out you could have great changes in collective or individual memories right after a catastrophe. An important figure in this subject is Milton Friedman of Chicago University. For better or worse, his ideas shaped the modern economy. He loved deregulation. He once famously said, "I should have the right to be greedy." Another statement he made was, "Only a crisis, real or perceived, produces real change." What do these people always want? More power and more money, so they can rule the world while we all work for them. With the psychology experiments, they found out how to reach their goal, but they needed to test it first. And where else but a poor Latin American country, such as Chile. In the 50s and the 60s, their government was investing in healthcare, education, and industry. Chile was on track for fast development, but too bad they were leftists. Once the US companies in Chile started to lose their influence and profits, they asked for help from CIA. CIA's first step was to teach Milton Friedman's neoliberal ideas in Chilean universities. Next step was bribing the unions to create an economic shock to the country. Once the factories stopped producing, CIA supported General Pinochet to overthrow the government in a very bloody coup. The neoliberal principles of Chicago School of Economics were ready to be implemented. What were those principles? Privatize all public assets, deregulate the market and the imports, and cut public spending. And within a year, the inflation was 375%. The Chile experiment was a wild success for the ruling elite, and a great humanitarian crisis for the rest. This wild, untamed version of capitalism quickly spread through the rest of South America. The technique was simple. CIA encourages a coup, topples the government, and implements neoliberal policies. Every time they made this operation, the local currencies plummeted, inflation rose, and the purchasing power got weakened. With Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, neoliberal craze sprawled quickly around the world. Before Reagan, an average CEO earned 43 times more than the average worker. After Reagan, that ratio was 350 to 1. Neoliberalism didn't stop there. After the Soviet Union in 1991, a handful of people looted the government assets, got insanely rich, and the rest of the population just starved. In Russia they called them oligarchs, but in Western world they are called entrepreneurs. In 1998, 80% of Russian farms were bankrupt, and 70,000 state-run factories closed. The Shock Doctrine is a book by Naomi Klein, and it investigates the drastic changes in our lives after disasters. Doesn't matter if the disaster is natural or man-made, some people always profit from it. The people subjected to the shocks cannot grasp reality and protect their interests. Our collective memory gets erased and rewritten. The world we live in didn't get to where it is by accident, nor is this the natural human evolution. There is an organized evil minority that is selfish, greedy, and dishonest. The rest of us are just fulfilling their fantasies and desires, while the earth and its resources are being looted. See you on the next one.